Hello guys, welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi show with Peter Yu. Today we're going to talk about situational training.
Yeah, and before we jump in, we have to say thank you again to all of our supporters, especially Levon, one of our biggest supporters.
Yep. Thank you,
Yeah,
Levon.
yeah, thank you, Levon.
Yeah.
And situational training. This is a follow-up from our previous episode, finishing throws.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's more about how to train for these situations where you have to try to finish the throws.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do we go about doing that? Like you kind of gave us a teaser. You
Yeah.
basically put yourself into that situation more.
Yeah. And I don't want to repeat myself with the Uchimata position, so I'm going to go completely different. Ready?
Okay. All right.
Situational training. Start in losing juji position. Right? Start in
Oh,
armbar
we're
position.
gonna-
Right?
okay.
But this is not even specific to, there's many ways to go about this, right?
Right.
All right, guys, we're going to start in armbar position. Person A is going to try to finish the armbar. Person B is going to try to not let the person finish. Ready, set, go, right? But
Yeah.
this is the caveat here.
Yeah.
You could just make it to finish the person, reset, finish the person.
Right.
Or you could get finished and then intensity immediately gets reduced, right? And then you have to fight out of it after you get submitted. And then the round continues as if you escaped. So you're working specifically on when the submission fails.
I see. Like you somehow got out of it.
Yeah, the guy got
Okay.
out. So now you have to scramble into new positions, scramble into other submissions, right? And usually because people finish it, they're like, oh, I finished. I'm done, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like that,
You know,
That's-
actually,
yeah.
that's I think I noticed the BJJ people are a lot better at that. They even if because I tend to stop right away, like when the finish the on the ground when
Yeah.
I make the guy tap, I was like, okay, this
Yeah.
is good enough. But then I realized that when I went to BJJ schools, people would they're pretty much taught to continue through it, like try to get out of it even.
I mean, it depends on how much you trust the partner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
There's guys I'll never give my full arm to because I feel like they're going to just get so excited. They're going to try to break it.
Yeah.
They're just too excited. They just don't know any better. You know what I mean? But there are people that will train that way. You know what I mean? And
it's almost like flow rolling, almost. Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I don't like that term, the F word. Yeah.
So you don't like the flow.
Yeah. But you can also do a rule in the gym. It's a catch and release kind of a thing, right? When you get the submission, whether it's like, all right, I don't know, take down whatever, take the back and you finish the choke, rear naked bang.
Yeah.
You just loosen it and let the person fight out of it.
Mm-hmm.
As if they escape. So it never really starts. You don't have to like get up, tie a belt, reset, grip fight. One person pulls guard. It doesn't have to be like that. You know what I mean? There's continuity always. And I really like that. You see what I mean?
So I think that can be applied to ground techniques more because you can kind of continue through it. But when you're standing, how would that work?
So if you're finishing Ochi and you run it out of bounds and the person hits the wall, right? Because especially we're in New York City, right? So it's like space is very limited always. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's these like mega dojos with like 3,000 square footage of just mat space in like these middle nowhere places. I've seen dojos like this. In New York City, that'll be $30,000 a month. So it's not feasible to have that. So when you're doing Ochi or whatever, you run in and bang, hit the wall, you just walk back to the middle and reset there.
Oh, I see.
Right. So now it continues. Because the issue is every time you run out of bounds, time stops, you walk back to the middle, you like meander a little bit, walk around, face each other, grip fight a little bit. You're only really being exposed to that initial grip fighting thing. Right? Most of the match.
Right.
That's
when I take my breaks though.
That's when you take the breaks, and that's when the people pound their chest, roll their sleeves, wipe the sweat off their forehead, and then they're like circling around, kind of engaging, pulling back, pulling back. It's a huge waste of time.
I see.
It's a huge waste of time. So like having that kind of a thing, you run a technique out of bounds, you walk back to the middle and you start there. That's always a good thing that I haven't really done that yet at the dojo, but we do a lot of situational training now with like, all right, we're going to start, one person starts Ochi, and dedicated, not just full blown Randori, but like, all right, one person starts Ochi position. If the person gets out and put 4 feet, touches the floor, right? That's it. Ends and the other person goes.
I see.
And 2 minutes on the clock, just alternating.
That's kind of what you mean by like catch and release in a way. Like, if if something doesn't work? Or what would happen? How do you keep the momentum going if someone's thrown though?
Oh no, you just get back and you start in the ochi position.
Like
Yeah,
back into
yeah,
the same
yeah,
position.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. As opposed to
I see.
frontball Randori, when you enter a position, you run it out of bounds. You start back in the middle in that same position.
Right. I
Yeah,
see.
which can also be a little bit dangerous too. So you got to have two people that they trust
Yeah.
each other. You know, you don't want people like, oh, I was in a Soto position. Let's get back in there. And then you start in the middle and they hook the leg and they start ripping and roaring over here,
Yeah.
dropping their bodies to the floor. We can't have that in the dojo ever,
Right.
But hopping ochi is a little bit safer.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
I
going
guess,
for Tanya Toshi. Let's start where I'm sitting on the knee. Ready, set, go. I'm going to
Yeah.
dive back to the side, pull your leg, body weight over that leg.
Right. Oh,
Right.
that'd be awful.
Yeah.
That'd be
So
awful.
those are some examples, and you see these Mongolian guys doing Mongolian wrestling. And this is something I saw when I was
right?
in
Buck.
the
Buck.
Bach wrestling.
Yeah.
But when I trained in Korea, when I was in Jeju Island, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was there for a World Cup Korea. And then the Mongolian national team was there, the French national team was there, and we did a training camp. And before practice even started, okay, the French were playing soccer. I remember that. They were kicking the soccer ball around. They were like doing soccer, joking around. Some guys were stretching. Mongolians were wrestling.
Oh, man. It's their, like, pastime.
They
like
spend, they go,
they'll balk.
Yep, they go chest to chest, over, under, grab the belt. They're belt wrestling, seriously. And they would just go. And there'd be like half speed, lifting, push downs, but they were just playing. Not like in an aggressive, it was aggressive, but like not all out, playing, one person
just
goes,
kind of feeling, okay.
no ego.
That's like roughhousing, kind of, like kids like this, yeah.
Yeah, but it was very mellow because they had to do judo training afterwards. So they were like doing situational play wrestling from chest to chest, belt to belt.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're lifting and they're like, oh, you got me, ha ha ha. And they're not trying to take the person down at all costs. They're not trying to land on the person. If you're losing your balance, they're just like, oh, you got me. And then they would like take a break fall. And it was just fun and games.
Yeah.
And they did this for like 20 minutes straight, dude.
What did you guys do? The Americans,
I think, I don't remember, man. I remember just lying there watching.
Oh, just like mesmerized by other
I will never
countries.
forget that day when they were playing this game, these two French guys, right? There was this black guy playing with a little kid.
Yeah.
They were on all fours and trying to pull each other's hands to make their face plant. You ever see that game?
Is it the one that you stand and then push each other?
No, you're on all fours.
Oh,
and you're trying to pull their hands out from underneath. So you know what I mean?
He does a face plant on the ground. Okay.
Yeah. So this guy playing with a little kid, and I'm like, why is there a little kid on the mat? You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, they're playing, they're having a good old time. Everyone's watching. So I'm like, let's see what's happening over there. I walk over there. It was Teddy Raniere playing with a guy my size. Yeah.
He's that big, huh?
He's
he
humongous,
dwarfs people.
dude.
Yeah.
He's humongous. And he was nimble.
I see.
Yeah.
My God. Hey, you guys are one weight class away from each other.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's like, anyway, so
Yeah.
I see. So it's this kind of play wrestling can help in this situational training too, you're saying?
Yeah, play wrestling, Georgian A, Georgian B. How can you do that safely? When someone throws Georgian A over and then they're ripping and going and Judo Randori around and they're both unfamiliar, something dangerous is going to happen. So
Right.
how do you build that familiarity in a safe environment? And going 20, 30% speed, just play fighting and having little goals like, all right, Georgian B, your goal is to lift him off the ground, right? Not put him down hard, just lift him off the ground,
So just I think some people are asking about this term Georgian A and Georgian B.
Yeah.
So Georgian A is the one that whose arm goes up over the top.
Yeah,
and
the
Georgian
same
B
side
is the
shoulder.
receiving end. Yeah, Georgian B is the receiving end.
Yes, and then you generally start with a tricep. So there's
Yeah.
a couple goals, right? Georgian B generally trying to lift them.
Yeah.
Georgian A is trying to pull the person down so that they can kind of go for a big turn, right?
Right.
I mean, you could lift from Georgian A also.
Yeah, A,
right,
yeah.
right. But so those are some of the goals. Georgian B wants to clamp the triceps so they can't turn away from you.
Right.
Georgian A wants to free that arm.
Mm.
So there's a couple of mini games and mini objectives even within that game,
Mm.
And then, interlocking the legs so they can't get taken backwards, right? Things like
Right.
this. So training specifically in those scenarios
Yeah,
is what I'm talking about,
I see.
Yeah. Because everyone's talking about mini games now.
Oh, I didn't know
What sort
that.
of mini
Yeah.
games? What sort of objectives can we do? And when they're talking about like judo soccer with a little beanbag to practice your foot sweeping skills, that's useless, man. Stop doing that. You know, that's not a mini game. You know what I mean? Just playing soccer might be just even better. Have fun, get a warm up in. Although every single soccer before practice that I've seen, someone always goes down, dude. It's so bad.
What do you mean? Like during a regular soccer practice?
Yeah, like soccer practice pre-judo in the dojo.
Oh yeah, it can get like aggressive. Like people get
Starts
really
a bad idea.
Especially, yeah, it's like your feet can get
Yeah,
caught.
I saw a guy trying to
yeah,
kick the ball,
yeah,
and they nailed their toe into like
yeah,
the mat was raised a
yeah,
little bit. Dude, he broke his
yeah.
toe. I've seen that.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? I've seen this girl one time, dude. Like died for the ball. I don't know what she was thinking. And this guy went to kick the ball and kicked her in the head.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That it sounds more dangerous than actual
Dude,
soccer.
I'll never forget.
Yeah.
The coach was like, "Oh shit!" But then
Yeah.
he was like joking around. He goes, "Oh, she's faking. She's faking." And then everyone laughing. And he's like, "She's faking. She's faking." And one of the guys like, "Hey, she's really hurt, man." Like, she's like, "Oh," and there's like, "Oh my god," you know.
He tried to defuse the situation or something.
Yeah, they used to play Piggy on the U.S. national team would go on these events and they would play this game called Piggy, where they would like throw the ball, pass it, and then their goal is to like hit the ball down into like the gi at the end of the thing. You know, I think like the San Jose guys, the California West Coast guys kind of started it.
Oh, I see.
And yet Travis will never play it.
Because they think because of the injury risk?
I think so. You know, I've seen him play before, but like on these trips before competition, he would never play. Yeah, never.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
you don't.
I'm pretty sure I've seen him like play with it, like just in general.
So I see.
But you know, those games are kind of. We're not talking about those games.
Yeah, mini games. I see that a lot in like soccer when I was playing soccer competitively. During training, you don't scrimmage really.
No.
Soccer, it's more about like these mini games, like keeping the ball away from the other team, or like, and nowadays especially they try to divide up the field into different sections, and then they drill. Like I'm talking about pros here. They drill what should happen in those different sections of the field. That's called like, I forget the name. There's a name for it, but it's a new training methodology. And then so they only played all these mini games. Never really the full game.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be specialized and then focus hyper specifically on some objective that may be part of like, right, you got to break it down. You know, it's like, all right, let's kick this ball into the net, you know, can only get you so far, right?
Yeah, because
stuff that happens
it's not as focused, and then it's not as efficient, and that's what we're getting at, right? With situational training.
Starting a losing position.
Yeah.
All right, you know, person A, you know, they used to call it A-man, B-man in wrestling, right? A-man, B-man. A-man starts with a single. You know, B-man's defending with the overhook, whatever, the wizard, you know?
Yeah, wrestling, actually, they do that a lot.
You can't say that anymore.
Because
A person, B
person.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, girls wrestle too, you know?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, but I noticed that too. I mean, I go to my old high school's practice too, and then, bottom person, up top person, right? And then you keep going. Like one of them hits a like switch.
Yeah.
And then you follow through. One of them tries to stand up and you follow through. Yeah. Things like that. So I guess I don't really see that much in judo. Like a lot of times it's just like, all right, warm up, uchikomi.
I mean, when I'm doing competition training, right?
Yeah.
Not me specifically, but when I'm training some of the guys who, let's just say there's a tournament coming up. A lot of our guys are going, you know, and when I say a lot, like 10, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
that's a lot.
I don't push it at all, right?
Yeah.
I really don't, you know.
Yeah.
I don't make everyone go. It's not enough, you know what I mean? It's not mandatory at all. But when a lot of people want to go and they're like, all right, we're preparing for this thing. All right, we got to do transitions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to put a minute on the clock. You know, ready, set, go. The person's going to move around and drop Senagi.
Mm-hmm.
And then transition to waza. The goal is not to throw the person with drop Senagi, but just to do it at a random time. Misdirecting, timing, faking, coaching. Drop Senagi really quickly, and then the top person has to defend it, and then transition into something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the person who's taking it is obviously practicing transitions, but the person who's doing it is practicing drop senagi.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even be more specific about it, right? Person A man, B man, or A person, B person. A has dominant position. B's moving around. A is snapping them down. Build that technique, tomonage.
Mm.
Transition over on the pass, go.
From the tomoe-nage. Yeah.
Yeah, so now you're training, stand in the pocket, right? And
Yeah.
you know that A person is not going to slam B because that's not the goal.
Right.
The goal
Yeah,
is for
yeah.
B person to do a bailout move. But if the person A who's receiving that tomonage, if they can see the tomonage coming, it's very easy to time an over-under pass.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So the person who's doing the tomonage is fake it, tomonage, moving. Try to get out of that position, get out of that. Tomonage. So they're training tomonage entries.
Yeah.
And then, of course, so the person receiving it is training transitions in a way that's more realistic.
Yeah.
And that's a great game right there. That's a great transitional, mini game, sort of a thing that you can do in the dojo. That's very low intensity,
Mm-hmm.
low risk. Okay. Injury rates are very low, and something that could definitely help you start winning,
Yeah.
and that's a good use of your time.
Yeah.
As opposed to walking out of bounds, fixing your gis, walking out of bounds, fixing your gis, grip fighting. One person goes, shitty drops it, nothing happens.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, look at the Randori in the room, man. Majority of the rounds that you're watching, nothing happens. Nothing happens. You think anyone's getting good under those conditions? They're not.
So it's I mean, we talked about this a lot, but in Japan they rely on this like free exploration by people through just a lot of randori, but they can do that because people have been doing judo for a long time, all of their lives, and then there's just so many people.
And the best guys are just going to immediately rise to the top,
Yeah.
But there's guys in the room who are bottom 25 percentile, who's just circling, fixing their gis, fixing their hair, wiping the sweat off their head, going out of bounds, going for a shitty throw. They're just dogging it.
It's good. They do exist in Japan.
Oh,
yeah.
Bro. And you know what, man? There's people like me.
Yeah.
Who will do one hard one, one semi-hard one, and then every third or fourth is one of those guys. And I have my group of guys to rest. And we always make eye contact across the room, like, yo, we're good here. And then we'll like use a rest round, we'll bullshit, we'll just be much more reduced thing where it's like, we're going to both keep each other safe. We're going to both do some technical stuff, but we're not going to kill each other. Cool. And we have like a mutual understanding,
Oh,
we're still working on stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But whenever we're really tired,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, all right, bro, we're just gonna chill here. And sometimes when you're the senior, you could just say like, yo, we're just chilling here. Right?
I see.
Don't come after me. And then they're like, all right.
But if they are forcing you to do situational training, you can't really do that, I guess.
Yeah, no, you really can't, because now all of a sudden your leg is raised, you're gonna get taken down every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, the person cannot take you down, but I mean,
I mean, it's kind of easy to see then.
And this is the thing, because it's so concentrated, you're going to get good ROI on that time.
Right.
On your time and energy. So it makes sense to actually do those. You know what I mean? Even though they're not as fun as just full-blown doing Randori, 100%, just this like frantic, like take each other down kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You have to mitigate the risk in the room, and see like how you can best spend your time. And it's doing these little games.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So are you guys doing that a lot in KBI?
Right now,
nowadays?
we're doing a lot of the finishing stuff, and people are used to it now. And it's actually kind of a good tool for beginners, too, to learn how to break full.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, because none of these throws, when you're lifting Ochi and finishing it, they're not going to be too like high impact techniques. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though Soto, and then it teaches them to kind of like, because we're reduced, not to chop the knee inwards.
Yeah.
Right. And then like using their hands and feet together while keeping your balance. And the majority of that technique, that finishing, is me putting my weight onto you.
Yeah.
So teaching them how to do that, it's a great learning tool, I think, that's been very successful. And I thought this was for advanced guys. But I think the beginners and the intermediate guys are getting the most out of it,
Oh, interesting.
Now that's where I'm at with that. That's what we're doing right now in KBI.
It's probably more fun to them too, right?
Definitely. And we've been doing a little bit more tachiwaza to newaza transition stuff. But when I teach the newaza portion, a lot of it is in that transitional method, right?
I see.
Like pulling guard, tomonage, yeah, right? Into like the delahiva and the overhead sweep, which is a double tomonage sort of a thing. And then if that fails, you're in delahiva and you go 1 or 2 different sweeps from there, right? So it's not quite jujitsu, you know? Like we're not going deep diving into like collar sleeve, this and that, spider lasso, delahiva, reverse delahiva. You know, he goes knee cut, I go this, you go this, you go that. We're not really doing that, you know?
Right.
It's still geared towards judo, but it's a little bit more of a Brazilian jiu-jitsu influence. You know, people will love that comment. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Yeah. So introducing that kind of a thing, I've been doing a little bit more. You know, I like the idea of tomonage as a you know, a really, you know, to put in your system, right? So like doing the tomonage and then using that as an entry into newaza when you're drilling, right?
It's beneficial for both judo and BJJ. I mean, why
Best
do
of
you
both
just
worlds, you know?
why do you just pull guard when you can even throw it? Yeah.
Useless in nogi.
Useless in nogi?
Useless.
You
Can't do it.
I guess it's you can't really do tomoe-nage with nogi. Yeah.
I mean, you could do like head and wrist, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
That good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta you'll figure out a nogi system too. So
Nogi tomonage system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think we covered a lot for situational training. Yeah, and we've talked about this bits and bits here and there, like through the years. But I think it was good to dedicate a whole episode, especially in the context of learning how to finish throws. So yeah, that was a good episode. Anything else we missed?
No, join us on Patreon.
Yeah, join us
That's
on Patreon.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening,
You
and
know, thank you for being here, Peter, as always.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be possible without you,
It
Shintaro.
wouldn't be possible without you either, though.
We're good duo, dynamic duo.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.